Hey guys, it's me, RDV. I'm back here with the incredible Zach now. Another variant. God. And then we got Mr. Breen with his slicked hair, or is that from just sweat working in the shade?
No, I just got out of the shower.
For those who don't know, Breen works at a comic book shop, slaving away, and you guys were in a sidewalk sale?
Tent sale.
Tent sale. Same thing.
Loading a truck at 7 when it was still feels like 102.
Ooh.
60 and fat. The couple that I work for are 50 and yeah. And the other guy said there was not an athlete in the group, and it was so freaking hot. And Mark's wife is in the truck taking the boxes and loading them. I couldn't have done it. But
so why was nobody recording this for YouTube?
We didn't have an extra person to do it.
That'd be some quality content for sure. Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, it was hot. I mean, and I said, Mark's wife, God bless her. She sat out there for about 7.5 of the 8 hours.
Jeez.
And her face was beat red by the end of the day.
Back of a U-Haul?
In the tent. It was a 20 by 40 tent.
All right.
And there's about 100 or so long boxes on, as part of the sale.
Dang.
And we had to, so we unloaded it this morning and then loaded it back up after 7. But we had an army this morning.
Skip, if
a lot of people that just show up and just like dig through the long boxes, just hunting for stuff.
Yo, Skip, get in here. I know you probably just got home from work, or just about to. Get in here. We'll be still going live one time you get on here.
Oh yeah, if you've read that, yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Totally.
All right.
But
Zach, send him a link.
Okay.
But while we're waiting, speaking of Mary Jane.
He's got the poster. Our love story. Oh, that's awesome.
Can you full screen that? Because I got a handful of them.
Okay, yeah, hold on.
And if you look behind, Mary Jane here,
there's Breen.
Oh. No.
My gams.
The only problem is that you can't see those gams.
Is this from the tent sale, or is this from Graphic Man?
No, these were waiting for me when I got home today.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
This was one of our thumbnails.
That is
Superman
cool.
237. If you look in there, all
I like that.
Yeah, all the fossils there.
We don't want you on Earth no more.
No.
Skip said he's skipping us for basketball.
Oh yeah, the finals are going on. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a cool idea for a poster or for a thumbnail with the fossils.
See, now,
that's awesome.
Now you get more picture frames, right?
Yeah, I do need to get some frames here. And then the last
Goodbye, Cary Grant. Fossils, hello.
And Sergeant Pepper.
Yeah. You guys said that as your thumbnail is recently.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good night.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last 2 fossil streams, I've had computer issues. And
I was about to say, yeah, you weren't really on this last week.
I wasn't on the last 2 for much, but it seemed to be resolved.
Well,
that's good.
That's good. This would be a weird retrospective if you hadn't shown up. So this is, I don't know. Have you read this one before, Vinkman?
No.
This is the first time for me.
It's probably my first 2 issues of any Hulk book I've actually read. Other than I read that painted one in the 2000s. I think it was still Peter David though.
I've read the Donny Cates one, and then I've read World War Hulk.
It was I think it was Peter David. I don't quote me on this, but it was like early the mid 2000s, and I think he had it on auction for a while.
Oh.
And it was just like him helping these people, these kids are like, and there's some secret government lab, they're using them, and just the Hulk, just trying to hide and just trying to help them out.
Venkman?
Yeah.
If you would, be so kind.
3, 2, 1. See, Zach, it's not that hard.
I know. I just totally flubbed it up. I know.
Well,
Go
Zach's
Celtics.
over there trying to do that with a twist on, water bottle.
Yeah, I know. I got my little pop up thing.
Zach, if you're gonna kick the cap off, that's what you gotta do for the twist bottles. You gotta kick it off.
I don't have a twist. It's not a twist off. It's a pop up thing. Little mouthpiece.
Zach, don't worry. I've seen this game. The Celtics win tonight, and then
I have to root for all the Boston teams. My wife likes Boston, so we have to root for the Celtics.
I cannot root for Steve Kerr. I don't have any problem with Klay Thompson or Seth Curry. I actually kind of get a kick out of what's left of Draymond Green. But yeah, Steve Kerr is such an annoying prick that I can't root for any team that he coaches.
I hear you.
And that's saying something because the Celtics are as social justice-y as the next guy, but hell, they're libs of TikTok compared to Steve Kerr.
I don't know. I mean, I only Celtic anything related I've ever watched, and you know what I'm going to, Celtic Pride, Daniel Stern, Dan Aykroyd.
Last time I actually really paid attention to the Celtics was back when one of the players from LSU had just joined the team, Big Baby Glenn Davis. Yep. I actually saw him play a game when he was still at LSU. He's a basketball player, so of course he's a big guy. Yeah. But anyway, that's enough basketball talk. Let's talk about the Incredible Hulk.
Yes. Let's talk about Rick Jones.
Rick Jones, sidekick to both Captain America and the Incredible Hulk and the Avengers.
And Captain Marvel.
And Captain Marvel. Who I'm kind of... Oh, I guess Captain Marvel's dead at this point.
Yeah.
This is a crazy issue. It just shows you how just Peter David had this fun with where Captain America, Stephen here, was told that he was
I love the cover too.
He said Nick Fury was sending. Nick Fury sent this girl. I thought it was gonna be a magician. Nope.
Well, you're just jumping right into the middle of the story.
You know what? Because that's where the good parts are.
No, not at all. There's
okay,
I
know. Just a quick setup at this point in the book. This was after the Maestro story for Future Imperfect. Bruce is having nightmares that he fears he's going to become him.
Yeah.
So he goes to Doc Samson for help, and Doc Samson doesn't take him seriously because this version of the Hulk is Bruce Banner, but it's a supremely confident, bordering on arrogant version of him, not in a dickish way. He's in total control. And he's like the head of a group called the Pantheon. And although I read the entire series and I was never really sure what they did, but
the council reads.
But then he basically breaks down and begs for help. So that's the opening scene of this.
Well, I love the very first page. Like he just goes to knock on the door and the door just falls off. No, wait, is this Gary Frank? Is this the same Gary Frank that we see like doing all the really cool like comic covers and stuff today? Like,
oh yeah, you can tell if you look at the panel. So he's tremendous artist.
Yeah.
I actually liked him better in his earlier days of his career because as his career progressed, I think his faces he tried to get so realistic with the faces, and sometimes putting all the wrinkles literally in people's faces. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to pull off in comic art. And he hadn't really gotten to that point yet. I mean, his people are beautiful. Men and women. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, that's why Skip. Yeah, I didn't realize that until I was just looking at the credits thing. I was like, wait a second, Gary Frank.
Yeah,
Gary Frank who does like modern DC stuff. Like, but yeah, I mean, obviously the color and the inking is different here than it is today.
Peter David was so lucky on his run. He had McFarlane for a while, Dale Keown, and Gary Frank, and I don't mean to slight any of the other artists like Jan Duursema, but I mean, yeah, he had a lot of really good artists working on this run, and Frank was around for a decent amount. I would say probably. I'm not sure where Keown left off and Frank began, but like I said, there was. You never had to worry about the art in this book.
Yeah, the only one that was kind of weird is seeing the blonde in here that walks up to him. I forget what her name is. I think it's Elsa. Who's in the next couple pages after the Doc Sam's thing, Marlo opens the door, and I think it's Elsa.
I thought that was,
or is that Betty?
I think it's Betty. Yeah, that's Betty.
Is that Betty? Okay, I got confused when I was reading.
That's what threw me off at first because I
called off the wedding.
Yeah. She went around town doing all the stuff, calling everything off, and she was exhausted. And then she gets back in the house and finds out that Rick and what's the bride's name? I don't know. Marlo. She finds out that Rick and Marlo have reconciled, and the wedding's back on.
It's just funny when I look at Rick Jones, and especially when after they slam the door on her, like you see them in the bed sitting next to her, it looks like Peter Parker and MJ.
It does
in a sense.
It does look like an 80s Peter with some longer hair and MJ. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, and then from there, obviously it's Rick Jones. He's very close with the superhero community. So Captain America's got invitations. He's at the Fantastic Four, the Baxter Building.
They're playing pool.
They're playing pool. Him and Johnny are there. Sue's there in the most outrageous, controversial of Sue Storm costumes. They're just talking about, you guys should come to the wedding. And Steve, I don't know, it seemed to me like Steve was trying to put the moves on Sue Storm at the time because Sue's like, I bet you can't make that pool shot. And Steve's like, I never bet unless it's a sure thing. So then he tries to do it, and Sue puts up a force field.
He's like that ball blocks away as if there's a force field we're blocking the pocket. You wouldn't have them. She's like, oh crap.
She's like, I'm shocked that you would say such a thing. Shocked.
People forget, but Sue was always drawn very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and this was one of those occasions where her outfit was a little
risque.
Mm-hmm. And there was she'd been possessed.
That
Malice or something like that?
Malice, that's it. Yeah.
And it was the 90s, so they did this, and honestly, it did not fit the character, but it wasn't like she didn't have her own sex appeal.
Mm-hmm.
But and the people that do the most complaining about it are SJWs and their allies that want people to think they're good allies by trashing it.
She got rid of the costume. If you read what's going on in FF during this time, because
it doesn't hang around that long.
No, not a lot. She, like I said, there's like 20 issues where Reed's gone from the book.
Yeah.
Right.
And then she actually does it's almost like current Catwoman's costume. She has the exposed arms, shoulders. So it changes, and I always preferred that costume, and then she always wears the jacket over. Like she's pretty much becoming Rogue at this point.
So
kinda.
So after another scene where Bruce is talking to Leonard, it's time to stop being so serious for the rest of this story, and it's on to the airport to pick up Marlo's mom, and this has some of the best comedy. that in the history this run has to offer.
Yep.
It's just like the expressions on the Hulk. It's great.
I'm just now seeing this. So there's the one where show the screen where Marlo's mom is talking to the Hulk. She's like, "You're amazing." He's like, "No, Spider-Man's amazing. I'm incredible." And then I'm just now seeing Betty's like elbowing him in the side.
and that's what he says. Well, with Marlo, anything is possible. Like in Vegas, she was involved with some grotesque man with gray skin.
Yeah.
Thank God she broke that off. And then the next panel, you can see Bruce whistling.
He's like whistling, and Marlo's like, "Not a word, Rick." She's like, "Don't say anything."
Right.
And of course, there's the scene where Hulk goes to pick up the suitcases, and he's like, "I can't pick them up," and everybody's just like looking at them with like their jaws dropped, and he's like, "I'm it's a joke, guys. It's just a joke. I can pick them up easily." And the best part is Betty's face at the end. She's like rolling her eyes. She's like, Lord help me."
You know what she reminds you of? The way she's drawn is like a young Drew Barrymore.
I was reading through. She reminds me of Amy Poehler from Parks and Recreation, kind of.
But
like
the curly hair, the wedding singer, get Drew Barrymore right away.
I could see that. But yeah, and then it goes to this is that Pantheon group you were talking about, and we kind of touched on this
Ulysses
a little bit backstage. Yeah, this is like early '90s, and it's very obvious. Like it's not like something that they're playing around with the words. It's very out there, very clear.
Well,
one of these guys
they
is gay.
say it.
Yeah,
I was wondering though. These guys were like, there's a meaning the way how they looked. Was that to like a parody to somebody else that maybe the writer knew?
What are you talking about?
Well, the guys from Pantheon, Hector and Ulysses.
No, these guys were there the whole. They were in the book for about 40 something issues.
Because Hector's got he's got the mustache, and then the whole classic, the beard and the stuff. I guess that was still in the 90s. Those kind of looks, but it looks more like 70s, and it's like.
He looks
hey,
like
baby,
Goose.
come here.
He looks like Goose with the mustache. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say though,
Freddie Mercury, actually.
Oh yeah, Freddie Mercury. You could say that too, which is ironic because this is the guy who's gay. But yeah, it's out there. It's very clear. It's very clear cut. It's not something they dance around the wording for. And like we were saying, this is early '90s. So like anybody that says it hadn't been touched upon in comic books before 2012 or 2014. Go read Peter David's Hulk.
No, you notice Ulysses says it's your choice. Mm-hmm. None of my concern. He goes, but it's not my choice.
Right.
It's what I am.
Right. And
so we know what side of the debate Peter David falls on.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got the girls, She-Hulk, showing up.
Sue makes her invisible, so it's like kidnapping the bride.
Literally puts her in a bag.
Yeah, but I love how
aliens are after my daughter. Oh no!
I'm trying. Who is the girl in the red shirt sitting on the couch next to?
That's Marlo's mom.
Marlo's mom is talking to somebody in a red shirt.
And she says, "You were kidnapping aliens too," and the girl's like, "Too?"
It says aliens are after my daughter. That's Marlo's mom.
Well, no. He's talking about up at the beginning.
Upper left panel.
This upper panel. Marlo's
the black-haired girl?
Yeah, the black-haired girl.
Yeah.
Okay, you said red. That's what threw me.
Oh, the red. Yeah, I meant the red shirt. That's what I said. Is that red sweater?
Red shirt. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
I think
somebody that was abducted by aliens.
She might be the one that ends up getting killed and ends up haunting her later on in the Captain Marvel series.
Oh, wow. Now, is this Elijah, Johnny's girlfriend at the time?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I saw the chin, the scroll chin.
Weren't they married?
Were they married?
Well, they when he was supposedly married to Alicia, it was Elijah in disguise when they decided to retcon that. It wasn't the original plan. It's it was like a last minute retcon. Oh, you know what? We might not see Game 7. Golden State just might run them out of the gym right now, like they're doing.
Yeah, for those who are wondering, this is not part of the Incredible Hulk. Breen has an addiction.
Well, no. Skip might say, "Oh, this game's over," and jump on. So I'm trying to,
Oh, okay, yeah. He's trying to be like,
for the greater good, Beckman.
For the greater good. I'm just worried now because whenever somebody says that, it's not for the greater good.
So we got to talk about the bachelor party. Some of the people that are there.
Yeah.
We get to see the teen brigade as adults, spiking the punch.
And then Hercules comes over and drinks the whole bowl.
And the guy on the surfboard singing Beach Boys.
I know, right?
Like I said, there's so many great gags in this.
You look at Silver Surfer. He's like, "All right, that's enough."
I will say one thing, and then you go on. One thing that this shouldn't have been done in this series was Jim Wilson was there. He's the guy, behind Rick and Cap. the very next issue, he dies from AIDS.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's a very powerful story.
Wow.
But him being in here, it's like, well, they kind of didn't do any build up to that, and he looks pretty healthy here, and he doesn't mention that he's sick.
Which guy is this?
The guy right here? Yeah.
That guy? Yeah.
Guy in the yellow shirt?
Yeah, Jim Wilson was after Rick Jones, when Rick Jones became Captain Marvel's, shared the nega bands with Captain Marvel. Jim Wilson became like the de facto Hulk sidekick. He was the one that could get through to the Hulk smash version of the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
And he actually, over time, had won the respect of General Ross. But he was a semi-regular for a lot of the issues through the 100s, and made sporadic appearances after that. And it was revealed later on that he was Sam Wilson's nephew.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
wow.
weird. Okay. Wow.
Okay. But he dies in like the next issue, like 419 or 420, somewhere in the near future. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those two. That's the next issue blurb at the end of the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Issue.
Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, after that, here's what Venkman was talking about. Girl comes in the door holding a hairdryer.
Oh, hold on.
Somebody says, who is that? Somebody's like, oh, it's Iron Man. Yeah, she comes in and she's like, it's a stick up. I'm the Ichdias. I can't even pronounce it.
I love how
I can't pronounce it either.
Ichdiasast? Propitious. I'm gonna call her Propitious.
Yeah.
But like Iron Man's like, is that a hairdryer?
Hold it, man. Better do as she says Cap.
Yep.
That's him,
like,
miss. What's left of him anyway?
Yeah, Cap like thinks it's a serious thing.
Yeah, Jim's like, it's like, no, Jim, we have no choice.
Like, Cap, this is not what you think it is. And she's like, Nick Fury says hi, and like this is at the point where the Thing is wearing that weird helmet.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on?
And he's got lemon wedges in his eyes.
Yeah, those lemon wedges. Johnny, that's just too mean. But yeah, and so like this is going on, and Steve and Hulk are talking. He's like, Nick says she was a magician, and Hulk's like, no, that's a stripper.
I love. And Cap's like, I figured that out. And he's like, what? And Hulk's like, just don't tell Betty.
Don't tell Betty.
Women as such objects. I can imagine what she's gonna say.
And then, well, it's funny because like the very next panel,
take it off.
They're at a Chippendales, and it doesn't. I mean, it's a rawhide. There's a raw. I don't know if they call him rawhide. They call him the bearhide kid.
It's just so great when you we're gonna keep showing up, but it's just so great because he's like, he's all worried what she's gonna change, and here she's like, take it up, big boy.
Let's have a big welcome for the bearhide kid.
Yeah.
I love when they're talking, and because that actually did happen. Betty did train. She was going to become a nun,
right? Yeah.
And then the conversation with Sue. It's a good a nun in training, huh? I wonder what disqualified you.
Yeah, that was hysterical. And then Sue's like, Jen, this is not good taste. That was hysterical.
I guess, and then you got Jennifer and Sue talking along with
Wanda.
Wanda. Wanda dressed like a stripper too.
Yep.
Oh, that wasn't.
Yeah,
Sue,
Wanda.
right?
Jeez. Oh, that's not Sue. Oh no, Sue's wearing the jacket.
Yeah, she's got the jacket on. Wanda's got the stripper outfit on.
Who's the blonde that's talking to Betty then? Is that? Now I'm curious.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is. They don't.
Because Wanda and Crystal are there.
Yeah. Couldn't be name Rita. She has pointy ears.
No, she says Mona. Whoever that is, Mona. Is her name.
Oh, yeah, it is Mona. You're right. Hold on a second, Mona. Yeah.
But I like how Marlo's mom's like, hey, kid, our friend wants to dance with you. And Marlo's just like, kill me.
Well, then, so like, how like at Rick's party they have like the bad guy kind of walks in the door. Well, it happens at the bachelorette party. These guys walk in with guns,
Yep.
and someone's like, "Crystal, is this part of the show?" And Crystal's like, "No, I don't think so." And so one of them actually takes a shot at Marlo.
Yeah.
But Sue shields the. She
Yeah.
hits
They're
the,
like,
she
"Who are
shields the
you?"
bullet.
I love how he says, "Like, who are you, brides?" Like, he's and Crystal's like, "You picked the wrong night, fellows." And Janet's like, "Because we are." And like, here comes She-Hulk always.
She was like, "We're the Roseanne Arnold fan club." Sue's like, "That's not funny."
No, that's not Jan. That's Wanda.
Yeah, that's Wanda. That's not Janet.
Yeah,
Or did you
is
say
that-
Jen? Not Jan.
I
That's
thought you said
Jennifer
Jan.
Lawrence. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Marlo's mom was right.
Oh, it is Wanda. Okay, I thought it was.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
her
Wanda.
costume and Force
You know what?
Works was
The Wasp is always flirting with guys like Magneto during Secret Wars. I have no idea which costume she's gonna wear next.
well, yeah. It Force Works was going on at this time, and in
Okay.
that, and it, like I said, because we were in the '90s, Wanda's costume was that.
Thank you, Marvel.
So
Yeah.
So who's Boggs?
I miss those days.
So who is Boggs? Is this a nickname or is that supposed to be Jarvis?
I thought it was Jarvis at first, but no, the hair looks different.
He's like at the Stag film. He's like, you know,
Yeah.
he's like,
He
I'll let you
kinda
know.
Yeah, it's nobody.
He kind of
Oh,
looks
okay.
like Simon Stagg a little bit.
A little bit.
I'm also laughing because Iron Man is just sitting there like in his armor.
I love how Caps is hiding his face. He's like, oh god.
But
God,
the
no.
best
There's
panels.
something in my eye.
Frankly, I see no point in a film whose main merit is unclad females. Yeah. Hey, have you met Hector? I'm warning you, Ulysses.
I like how there's a problem with the film camera and the Vision just like taps it and it kicks up. She's like, I have a knack. It's just a thing.
Captain America, you seem embarrassed. He's like, no, just something in my eye. Don't mind me.
Don't
He's hiding his phone to her face.
Hulk's like, quiet. We'll miss the plot.
And like, it must be Quicksilver. He's like,
I think it is
what?
Quicksilver, yeah.
And like, and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, my client directed and wrote about this. It's about, and like Ben Grimm, who cares? Whoa, that's a healthy girl.
That's a healthy girl. And then that's where they find out.
I'm like, Quicksilver, no, the lines here, Quicksilver is like, no tan lines, an oppressive woman. I was like, it's so weird seeing him say that.
Yep, and then you find out that the girl in the movie is Marlo. Clever placement too of Vision.
Yeah, and he's like,
Rick Jones.
Rick's like, I see some girl on a skin flick, and she just reminds me of Marlo. Bruce, isn't this fun? And they see everybody. You see Bruce's face. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, Bruce's face up here at the top. He's like, what?
That is
Vision's like, that is your fiance? You must be very proud.
It looks like Vision has like a little smirk. I don't know if my camera will focus enough, but it looks like he's smirking a little bit.
Then because what bachelor party?
And then we get
without the Impossible Man.
Yes, at the end, the very end.
Impossible Man. That little guy, that little troublemaker. But yeah, oh man, this was hysterical. Like I said, I hadn't laughed. I was telling Skip in the chat. I haven't laughed this much reading a Marvel book.
This
in a long
issue
time.
Was in memory of Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby died in 1994, right? Or right around that time?
Was it? Oh, okay.
Well, it wasn't dedicated to him. I think they just ran the.
Well, it says in honor of Jack Kirby, 1917 to 1994.
Yeah, all the books that month had that.
Yeah. But yeah, I said that's why I was like I forgot that he died early in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he died like earlier than that, like in 91 or 92. But yeah, he went to 1994. So yeah, so that's issue 417. And then Justin, you think that is like crazy as it gets? No, it's.
I need to find this issue. I have like this little collection of wedding comics. I need to find this now for my collection.
I kind of like. I like this better than watching Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks.
Of course, he's got. I like that cover too.
Well, no, of course Breen's got these. Why wouldn't Breen have these?
Oh, it opens up. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like. There's Julia Carpenter too. Spider-Man.
That trollop, she's showing cleavage.
I know.
Yeah, mine's beat up, but I do have it.
See, they don't show that on the digital. They just show, like, I guess without the fold out part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's That was incentive to buy the physical print,
Yeah,
Probably.
right.
Well, the 90s were full of die cut, hologram, any kind of gimmick you could put on a cover they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
But this one made sense.
Yeah, right.
If Breen were to go through his original books right here, like a physical book, I love the ads. You get the ads for the Marvel trading cards by Mark Bagley, all 150. If you have all 150, I wonder how much that costs to sell that set. Who actually would pay that much for that?
A friend of mine that buys a lot of high dollar stuff. It says there's a lot. Some of the cards are really valuable.
Well, I imagine, and just having a complete set and then having them in like close to near mint condition.
Yeah,
that
you'd be sitting on a few bucks.
Now, do those come with a pack of gum?
I
don't think so, but I mean,
because they're by Fleer. They weren't on top, so
I didn't have any when they came out. I got a bunch of them, and I let my, at the time, very young niece and nephew destroy them. Oh. And so all those valuable Marvel cards, they killed.
The only time I ever saw one in the wild when I was like in probably 3rd, 4th grade, probably around actually closer to 5th or 6th on the playground. The kid's like, I got these Marvel cards. I was like, I got the Omega Red. I'm thinking like, who the hell is Omega Red? Why do I care about this? Oh, you got Wolverine though. You're so cool, right? I was like, I'd rather just go watch the cartoon. It's like, because they had all these hologram cards were coming out too.
Yeah.
I don't know if these were part of these Marvel 150 cards or they're a different set, but they had the hologram cards when I was younger. I was just like, cards were a big thing. I mean, they still are, but I don't think they're as popular as they were back then. I think it's more popular to buy the older cards because they still put out cards out today for basketball, for football. Topps is still doing it. But I mean, yeah. But anyway, we're getting off topic. But the first page of this, you have to turn it sideways.
Yeah, it's really weird reading it digitally because it's like tiny. So you've got
but if you have it in the original book, you got to turn it on its side. As we will show you.
Yeah,
because that's how it was printed. Because they didn't, instead of doing a wide, spread page, they kept it on one page and just turned the art.
Yeah,
which is a first for me. I've never seen that before in a comic book, and the rest go their normal.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. I see it every now and then. Usually it's in more modern comics that I think I've seen that in. It's not super common, but it's popped up a couple times.
So yeah, so basically it opens up with they got a picture. I didn't realize that they have John Morrison on the doors. Photo on the wall.
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison. I know. Damn, it's stupid wrestling. John and Jim. It always confuses me. Jim Morrison, yes.
Yeah.
And it opens up where basically Rick Jones is flailing out the hand. Why didn't you tell me? Blah blah blah. It's like, dude. She says like, I dated this guy, and he wanted to be in a movie.
Made me feel pretty. I was clumsy and awkward. It made me feel pretty.
Yeah. So, and she said like, I was 18. We broke up a year later. It's not to her. It's not a big deal. But he's flying out the handle. He's like, well, now it is because when I walk down the aisle, all the guys are gonna look at me. And I forgot who said it. It's like
Betty.
Betty says like, they're gonna be looking at her anyway. She's the bride.
Well, yes, yeah, aren't they supposed to? And he goes, "Oh, shut up, Betty! Don't tell her to shut up." Great, now you're taking her side too. Yeah,
yeah. And then we get to see the swimsuit, 2-piece bikini. Oof. I know.
Yeah, I know. Here,
But
outrage
she said she was going to bed though. So if you didn't read that, she's actually dreaming now, and in her dream, she's approached by a devil-like creature.
It couldn't be that guy that they've been saying is going to pull up in every Marvel Disney show.
Yeah, and he says like, I could give you the perfect wedding day, only for the price of your soul.
Right.
Now the thing is that if you didn't read the very last page of the first issue, you probably have no idea what's going on. And even then, reading this, it's like, is it really Mephisto or is it the other guy? Is Impossible Man? Because Impossible said he could revenge.
Yeah.
For not inviting him to the wedding. How do you invite someone who is like a god interdimensional being?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Oh.
Reed Richards, but he's gone.
But I mean, yeah, but she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, it's just a dream." And then Rick, is knocking at the door, and he's like, everything's smoothed over. He's like, "Hey, listen, it's all cool. Wedding's still on." And she's like, "Oh, this is a quick turnaround."
And I like the way how they write and draw Marla, her reaction to this. It's pretty much very much Jen She-Hulk.
Well, she,
Get the eyebrow.
She's thinking, even though it's a dream, she goes, "Oh, that
just like that."
Yeah, just like that. He's fine with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
she's on to something.
But I like her facial expressions. It always reminds me of She-Hulk whenever she meets somebody, just kind of weirded out and stuff.
Yeah, kinda. And then we get to the wedding. They're like, getting ushers and everything. So like the ushers are like,
cool stuff.
We're supposed to be seating these superpowered people. This is nuts. He's like, well, just imagine them with no clothes on. And Silver Surfer walks by. It's like,
and you get War Machine doesn't make it. I don't think he makes a comment at all, didn't this? Does he?
I think he's just there as the background.
Yeah, background character. It's all he is. It's like Gary Frank's like, I just want to draw War Machine. Let's go.
Yeah, put War Machine in there. Why not? And then there's Hulk and then Steve or Hulk.
Where does he go for a tailor? I want to know with the Marvel Universe. How much is he paying for that suit? Because he is
probably the same
enormous.
Probably the same place Ben Grimm goes for his suits.
Well, they showed it in an issue of Power Man and Iron Fist. When I've talked about it, where Luke Cage is there picking up an order of those yellow shirts, and next to him in line is Bruce Banner picking up a supply of purple pants.
It's funny because they're Cap's helping him tie his tie, and he's like, "Rick, unclench your throat." He's like, "I can't even unclench my hair." And Steve's like, "Dude, you fought Baron Zemo and you weren't this nervous." And Rick's like, "I'm not marrying Baron Zemo." And the Hulk's like, "Good, because there'd be a lot of talking." He'd be monologuing. He'd be doing the Mysterio bit.
I am ready to monologue.
I like the fact that they threw Wolfsbane in here.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fun character, and I miss her from the comic books today. It's just I think she's Irish, right?
This is New Mutants Wolfsbane, right? She's Scottish, I thought.
And then the big
Irish
character that when you hear Rom, who do you think of right away? Because he's in
Space Knight.
Yeah, he's in this.
Yeah.
But he's not the Space Knight.
He's not Space Knighted up. No.
He's just Rom, his original human self.
Right. Yep. Well, they didn't have the rights to.
I know.
On Space Knight.
But when I saw that, I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's because Rick was a fairly regular character in Rom also.
Oh, yeah. Rick Jones is just kind of all over the place. There's a fun little bit in here where Johnny Storm sees Northstar at the bar talking with Hector. And Ulysses is like, makes sense. And then Hector or it's Ulysses rather. He's going to go like talk to Hector, and the Hulk stands in his way. He's like, "Let's chat." And he's like, "No, get out of my way." And the Hulk just like picks them up. And he's like, "Okay, or maybe later. Later's okay. Later's good."
Now, of course, because of the wedding, I was expecting a Stan Lee cameo.
Nope.
But instead, we got a Peter David cameo as the priest.
We did. We sure did. Actually, and I didn't even bring this up in the previous issue with Hector and Ulysses. I think it's Ulysses. He's the one wearing the tropical shirt. They do a George Perez call out.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you look like George Perez."
That's what I thought he looked like with the beard. He was going for the George Perez kind of look with the Hawaiian shirt and stuff.
Let's say that kind of cracked me up. That was pretty funny. But the priest does look like Peter David, and Captain America is doing the fatherly duties, and then out of nowhere, out of the sky, Drax the Destroyer, just like dive bombing in.
Now,
this like what?
Obviously, is Drax became he had the Hulk smash personality at the time. Because he's also had many different personalities.
Yeah.
And there is an issue of Warlock and the Infinity Watch. That's a battle issue between Drax and Hulk.
Yeah.
That might be the funniest Marvel comic ever published.
Oh wow!
So
It's
there's also
even on the cover. Yeah, he says, Drax is saying, I'm gonna crush you, Hulky. And you see a thought balloon, and he goes, he called me Hulky. But it's like, there are lines where Bruce will say, God, did I ever sound that stupid? Yeah, it's like,
it's so
was funny. It was funny though, because in this book here is this is not the Drax that most people would be normal or used to, because this is Drax with the cape and the purple. This is
right.
This is when he was a human that turned into a
Arthur Douglas, who
he was before also, but when he first appeared, his first appearance is also Iron Man 55.
Mm-hmm.
Same as Drax. I mean, it's Thanos and the Blood Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was intelligent. Something happened to him along the way that scrambled his eggs.
His family was murdered, right? And that's why he wanted to kill Thanos.
No, that's not.
Well, that happened, but that's not what.
No, I know, but I mean, like this is the version. And then because whatever reason, the movie is they retconned him and just made him worse, or I mean, as far as compared to what he was in the comic books.
Yeah, in the comics, in the movies, he's more comic relief.
Yeah.
And even though he is in this iteration,
but before that, he was serious though.
Yeah, he's had many different personalities and.
But it was weird seeing him in a purple cape coming down. And my first thought's like, oh, it's Impossible Man. This has to be Impossible Man, because just it's just the fact that he shows up late. Then again, because you're talking about how this is how Drax was,
Yeah.
Maybe this really is Drax.
It is.
It is. He shows up because he's like, I got an invitation, and Rick and Marlo are like, did you give him an invitation? No, I thought you did. So then Hulk's like, okay, look, go sit next to Warlock and be quiet.
Pushes him all over, and Warlock's just angry as heck.
He's like, what are you doing here? So then Peter David, I'm just gonna call him Peter David. He's like, okay, let's get back with the ceremony. So he's like getting back to it, and then Marlo's like, what's blocking the sun? And it's like the spaceship just comes out of nowhere, and the Frightful Four are in it, like the Wizard and Mr. Hyde.
Well, that's not the Frightful Four.
Not the Frightful Four.
No.
Okay.
No,
I saw the Wizard and
Sandman, Trapster, Wizard, and the fourth member. There was never a permanent one. It was Medusa.
It used to be Medusa was the first one. Yeah.
Then Thundra.
Yeah.
The Brute, and they never did have a permanent fourth member.
So the guys that drop out of the sky are Living Laser, Mr. Hyde, Absorber Man, and the Wizard. It's they all have invitation. I wonder who. So now is your big clue is like who everybody's asking who is giving these people invitations.
I like Mr. Hyde's line. He's talking to the Hulk. He's like, I guess you're back to basic green now, huh? That cracked me up.
And like I love how he's like Hulk's like, brace yourselves. He's pulling out an invitation.
I know they kind of in this scene they kind of remind me of the Flash's rogues, because they're like, yeah, we're here for the wedding. We're gentlemen, right, guys? And Absorbing Man's like, oh yeah. Totally.
They're very cartoonish villains in this, because they're like, sorry, we didn't have time to stop for a gift. It's like,
Living Laser's like, love the dress.
Yeah, they took some liberties with the characters, and when this happens in modern books, I'm quick to criticize. But Peter David is such a good writer that he makes it work, because there's certain circumstances like holiday issues and things like that where you kind of tweak the formula, and it worked in this story.
Yeah.
So then you think this can't get any worse. We have another two ships come down.
I'm looking at it, and there's just like Wolfsbane sitting there, just like, what is going on?
She's just pissed off.
She's just done with it. And so Rick's just like, more chairs. We need more chairs.
Yeah. So and he's like, all of a sudden he gets the bull around. He's like, okay, one last time. Scrolls on the left, Kree on the right.
Yeah, he's got to get like a bullhorn out, and you see them like with the spaceships in the parking lot. It's hysterical.
They're fighting.
You see, like there's a Kree, and who is
yeah.
that? Is that Talos the Tamed, and whoever this Kree guy
Yeah,
is?
I don't know that they were anybody.
But I just love Silver Surfer comes in the board. He's like, sit down. They're like, oh crap.
Yeah, they're about to start a fight, and Silver Surfer's like, sit your ass
Now,
down.
how is Silver Surfer here? Because he was still Hero of Galactus.
No, he wasn't.
At this
He
point,
he
so
was
how
at
does
the
he still have the
beginning of
board
the
then?
issue.
If he's not Hero of Galactus more, how does he still have the board? How does that work? Because I've never been a Silver Surfer person.
No, okay. When in the first Silver Surfer story, when he turned against Galactus to fight for Earth, Galactus's punishment was to take the universe away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So he placed a barrier in the atmosphere of
so
Earth's
that's
atmosphere that he couldn't pierce.
He couldn't leave
the Earth
Yeah.
until the Silver Surfer 1982 special, which was the one time that Stan Lee and John Byrne collaborated.
Oh wow!
And he was able to break the barrier. Then he was tricked into believing that Shah LaBeouf was on Earth, so he came back, and the barrier was still there. It was like a one-time only thing. But I think when he got his own series in '87, they figured out a way. They undid it because they wanted it, and ever since he's been all over the cosmos.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
because I would have thought that Galactus would have took away his
no.
Well,
No, he let him keep the power cosmic, but he pretty much just anchored him to Earth. It's like Thor. Whenever when Odin he banishes Thor to Earth, kind of.
Well, Thor's been stripped of his powers.
I'm going to comment on Julia's dress.
Yeah, right away. That shot right there.
That webbing looks better than it ever did on Spider-Man.
Oof.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Look at she's a ginger there too.
Yeah.
Because depending who draws her, she's either a ginger or she's a dirty blonde.
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
It's weird. All right, and then okay,
Peter David's like, okay, third time. and
then you see is that
Namor?
Like, yeah. And Bruce's like, okay, now what? The pool, it's on fire. The brimstone stench, says Silver Surfer. Have a care, Hulk. I know this guest all too well. Mephisto, Lord of the Lower Deaths.
In case Mephisto shows up and he basically spoils the thing with all the uninvited guests. He's like, the Impossible Man distributed those bogus invitations, but he didn't give me one. I made my own arrangements. And then that's where Marlo's like, I saw him in my dreams, and that's where Mephisto's like, yeah, she said that she would give me her soul in exchange for a happy wedding day, and now he's here to collect. And she's like, but it was just a dream. And Mephisto's like, dreams are binding, because we all know how Mephisto is with his bargains and stuff. So
this is kind of cool here because it's unexpected. The Hulk is able to clock Mephisto.
Yeah, I got a good chuckle out of it, but then also I was like, in comic book logic, it makes sense.
How does it work? Because this is a holy day, so there is a high presence here.
Well, we find out after the fact that it's not as cut and dried as
But it looks like, because he looks up, he sees a bright light, and he's like, maybe there's a chance. And so he clocks him, just right in the face.
We are gathered here in the sight of God.
Right.
Maybe those just aren't words.
Yeah, that's another thing. Peter David
said God
brings religion into the story, not to mock.
Not to mock. It's a way that actually makes sense. Because Hulk does the logic. He's like, well, if this guy, the devil from the lower realms, exists, it stands to reason there's a guy in a higher realm. And so he's like, maybe he doesn't like what he sees. So... But yeah, I thought that was actually that was pretty cool.
Right here. I was never a Silver Surfer person, like those unwashed peasants. Silver Surfer had his own story. I understand that, which branched, I guess, off from the Fantastic Four, his introduction. I just wasn't a character I was reading. Back at the time, I was reading all Spider-Man stuff, so I never really went back and read Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. These are my first two Incredible Hulk stories at all, really. for an Incredible Hulk main run. I mean, I've been reading Johnny Cates, but just reading these two just trumps anything that Cates has done.
After the series, after the Fantastic Four stories, he appeared in several subsequent issues of Fantastic Four. And then the last monthly title Stan wrote was Silver Surfer. Which just says it wasn't. I don't know if it was the last one, but he for a time he didn't want anybody else writing it because even though it started, Jack Kirby just put him in the background of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And Stan said, "Who is this guy?" And he goes, "Well, I figured if you got a guy like Galactus that goes all over the universe, somebody has to find the planets for him."
Mm-hmm.
So, and Kirby kind of had a little hippie in him too, so he put him on a surfboard. And Stan and Jack could never agree on what that character was supposed to be. But Stan was in charge, so Stan turned him into basically a mouthpiece for his own view of the world. And there was a lot of hand-wringing, and because I mean it was during the turmoil of the late 60s. So the Surfer was basically, I guess, an allegory for everything that was going on. But mixed with some pretty heady stories, because the issue 3 is that first Mephisto story, which it's still highly thought of. Issue 4, he fights Thor, and I said you've seen the cover behind me. Maybe the coolest comic book cover of all time. And then but it didn't sell well, so it was a 25-cent double size for the first 7 issues. Then it kind of became almost like a regular superhero book, because there was the obligatory Spider-Man issue, and then the Human Torch, and then I think the Inhumans, and but for that first year or so, he was basically, like I said, just there.
But Silver Surfer, his own series, did he just have just crossovers with other heroes constantly? Every issue was a different hero.
No,
it was just him by himself.
But again, like I said, when sales were lagging, they tried to boost it up. But that series, depending on what you were looking for in a series, would determine whether or not you liked it.
I like the Spider-Man stuff. Is Stan Lee going through the cast and stuff like that, and going through the years. So I mean, I don't if it's anything like the Peter supporting cast where he's the underdog and stuff.
No, it was nothing like that.
Yeah,
it's just like I said, it was just he was Stan's mouthpiece for society. Now the second series with Steve Englehart originally, then Ron Mars, they kind of made for a chunk of it, the Silver Surfer was like the straight man in a cosmos full of absurdity, because there was there was a lot, some of the heroes even that were treated seriously everywhere else were kind of more tongue in cheek, and it was a good series. I said there's some if you've read, or I'm sure you've all heard of the Infinity Gauntlet, the original miniseries.
Yeah.
Well, yes, Silver Surfer issues led up to that, and was very, very heavy into all the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Watch, Infinity War.
Because he just seems like a very serious character, and in the sense
he is. But like I said, for a while, everybody around him, like there's an issue with he and the Impossible Man on the cover. And instead of acts of vengeance, it was during that time, it just says acts of idiocy.
Oh.
So it wasn't short on laughs, but we are now off track officially.
No, we're still talking about someone who's in the book.
But
I love this little exchange that Hulk and Mephisto, he's about to leave because Hulk's like, maybe we can finish him for good. And Mephisto's like, no, I'm out of here. Forget it. You're free. You're free of your contract. And then Hulk's like, you're not going to stick around for a dance? And Mephisto's like, no, but I will dance at your funeral.
And then you get his inner monologue saying that it was a setup.
Right. It's all it's like a long con setup. But then Rick and Marlo, they finally get to kiss. The priest is relieved. He doesn't have to start over again.
I do have one interesting comment to make about this. Is after the kissing scene and all, and then you got Rom and his girlfriend come up, talk, to Marlo, but then she's met by Death.
Oh no, that's Sue and Namor.
Oh, is that Sue? Oh, it is Sue. Actually, that is Sue and Namor. You're right. You're right.
Namor's got his arm around her shoulder too. Like he moves fast. Namor doesn't play. But yeah, no, this is Sandman's death. Did Peter David do work on Sandman?
No, they must have just been friends.
So anyway, it's supposed to be Death from the Marvel version.
You never see her face.
No, it's the DC version. It's
DC's, yeah. You never see her face. They only show her from behind or from the side here. I love the exchange where Marlo's like, "Have we met?" She's like, "Yeah, briefly, but I decided to cut you some slack." It's like, you were close to dying. But...
She gives her a gift. They open up. It's basically a brush. Yeah. Does that come into play anything later on in events?
A brush with death.
Brush with death. I also like this line here. She's like, "I better get out of here before that Thanos creep shows up." Because Thanos is obsessed with death. See? that was clever. That was really clever.
Yeah, Venkman, I said the same thing because I that was so obvious. I didn't connect the dots.
Yep.
And Mark and I were talking about that store, and he goes online looking up, see if there's any. I said, because that would come in handy tonight.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. And then he read it and goes, oh, A Brush with Death. And it's like one of those, wow, I could have had a V8.
Pretty much. I didn't put it together until just now. Actually, when you said that, A Brush with Death, I was like, oh.
I was gonna say, like, if that was supposed to be Death, I was like, wow, because the one we always see has the scythe, and then this is skeleton. The one that Deadpool and Thanos are chasing.
No, this was, like I said, this was very clever. And a perfect cap for two fantastic issues.
Yeah, it really was. It
and
was
then
a fun wedding story.
So it was funny because Betty's like, can I? Betty's or Hulk's like, can I have this dance? He's like, Betty's like, sure, as long as I can stand on your feet so I can reach.
Was that Betty? I thought that was Sue for some reason.
That was Betty and the Hulk.
That was Betty though. Okay, that makes more sense if it's Betty.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course because Reed was this reason Reed wasn't here because Reed was and Doom had basically were blasted by this energy weapon blast, and then they were presumed dead. And so Reed he went with Sue because she had a +1, so she took Namor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right? She should have gone with Steve.
But the best part though I'll give Tom DeFalco this. Even though Namor was trying to consult her, try to get her to believe that Reed was dead, the 20 issues that Reed wasn't in there, she never gave hope, and then she basically became she basically told Namor to shove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Namor doesn't.
And then Namor lost his throne, didn't he? At the time in the 90s?
He loses his throne a good bit.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's like, dude. Actually, I remember the first Fantastic Four run I ever read was the Marvel Knights one, where they get kicked out of the Baxter Building.
Yeah, that's kind of out of continuity, though.
Kind of out of continuity, but still, Namor showed up at some point, and he was like, "Well, Reed can't take care of you.
So
and Reed just shows up and just clobbers.
I think it'd be only appropriate that we do a Fantasy Four retrospective next week, maybe. Since we just did the Hulk, tying in, we don't have to do the 90s Tom DeFalco. I won't put you to that.
Okay. Since it's a bridge the two, why don't we do 166 and 167?
Which one is that?
It's where the army claims to want to help cure the Hulk, and they basically commission the Fantastic Four to bring him in. And they do it, but Ben is kind of reluctant. And at the end of the first issue, Ben frees the Hulk, and they turn on the other three members. And then in the 167, they fight, And and obviously, as it goes on, Ben realizes he made the wrong decision. But it's the one where the Hulk's gamma radiation cancels out Ben's cosmic radiation and turns him, at the time, permanently back into Ben Grimm.
Oh, wow. And this is
And
Roy
it's-
Thomas and George Perez.
Yes.
Nice. I like that. Very cool. Yeah, I'm getting on I'm going through like a Fantastic Four renaissance right now. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Zach, I am so old. 167.
How old are you?
167 was the first Marvel comic I bought new.
Oh, awesome. Oh, wow. That's cool.
And I was already old in comic book years because I was 13 because I was a baseball card kid before that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Awesome.
It came out late 75.
I'm looking forward to that. 166 and 167. I do love Roy Thomas and George Perez too, so that'll be awesome.
I would say we should do a two-parter over 2 weeks. The next week we should do 168, 9, and 70 because they have to replace Ben Grimm, and they replace him with Luke Cage.
Nice.
And Ben does not like that even a little bit. But while unbeknownst to Ben, Reed is making an exoskeleton for him of the Thing. And when he shows it to him, Ben thinks it's the Thing from the Counter Earth that had been in a storyline about 8 months prior.
He tries to attack it, probably.
So it's really cool.
I was actually, because I know that Luke Cage was part of the Fantastic Four at some point, but I never read the story where he actually joins the team.
Yeah, and
so that'd be cool.
He gets taken over by the Puppet Masters, so you can have your obligatory Power Man versus the Thing fight.
Right.
And with the exoskeleton, they're pretty close to equal because the exoskeleton doesn't make him quite as strong as he was.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize I'm kind of unbiased about that because I'm kind of biased because that was right when I started collecting, and I thought, this is so cool that because they're doing characters crossing over, and you got Superman and Spider-Man meeting in a tabloid. You got the Power Man and the Fantastic Four. I go, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And Marvel was only 15 years old.
I will say this: looking at some of the art for this for 166. If I saw the Thing, if he looked like that in person, I'd freak out because he has little beady blue eyes.
His eyes are really beady.
Because he looks less of a monster in the later issues, especially the 90s ones. He
looks more like a boulder, just like a walking boulder as they go on. But
yeah.
Come on now. I'm trying to find it here on my tablet. So
Johnny and his turtleneck.
I'll answer MK's question here. Power Pack was a family, an intact family, mother, father, 4 kids. But the kids had powers. I don't know how they got them, and that was their last name too, was Power. And the parents knew, and so it was like the parents had to raise kids who kept getting involved with superheroes. The new Fantastic Four isn't so new because it was done 30-something years ago by Walt Simonson and Art Adams. Venkman showed that in the stream earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And it's being revived because they're just like the Ben Reilly Spider-Man series, the X-Men Legends series. It's kind of along the same lines as that.
Like I said, who doesn't like original stuff there? You even have the FF's even in here too. Makes a cameo too. So
Mole Man.
Yep, with the Mole Man. So I picked it up because Walt Simonson. I probably could go look for these issues, but the fact they're in one neat little prestige format here.
They're not expensive, and
no.
Welcome, Raul.
But it's like this is like getting a trade for $7.
I think we picked up a new viewer. Say hello.
Oh, really? Did?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Oh.
Greetings. Yeah, welcome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thanks for stumbling on our little comic book talk that we got.
Yeah, we do these every Thursday night, 8:15 p.m. Central Time, U.S. So, but good luck. We got a playlist. There's a whole bunch of them before this, so looking for that. We also do some very bad comic book readings on here too. We read the comic books with bad voices.
Yeah, he does have like those little beady eyes,
He
and also no teeth.
You know what I always called it? I called it a turtle shell helmet. His eyes and his head.
Because he had the brow at the time.
Yeah, the brow. It's always like
that's my favorite thing.
He's always got like the big unibrow. Yeah.
No, I said,
that's a really cool cover, though.
Yeah, our retrospectives aren't as structured as the ones that I'm a part of on Thinking Critical. Probably closer to the ones Perch and Joe do, where they just kind of, go through it and
talk about it. And like I said, and this, and we got our over here. We got our guy Zach, who basically shows it on his iPad.
Pretty much,
and then bring down below. If you talk about a comic book, he just pulls it out of his couch.
Pretty much.
Not as much as I could have. I said it's, there's retrospectives we do on Thinking Critical. I owned I think every one of the books we've done at one point or another, but not much of them anymore.
Thank you for subscribing, Ron. I hope you enjoy our content. And
yeah, thank you.
On this channel, there are puppets on here. Be warned, we're puppets to review TV shows and movies.
Don't be alarmed if you see a little frog puppet pop up at some point.
Yes.
We're aware he's here, but
we're just
all the time.
We're just a small channel. Just basically, we try to keep it positive here. We try not to do, talk about books that we don't like. Mainly talk about books a lot of older issues, especially Thursday nights are usually the throwback issues. And also we do the best of the week, where we talk about the new comic books that came out every week. So on Tuesday nights, Zach and I will go talk about the books that are coming out this week, and for that week, and we basically take 5 books from our pull lists, and we just try to predict what books we're gonna probably the best reads, the best of the week, and Thursdays were the follow-up. So yeah. The great thing about YouTube is that you can just watch it at your leisure time. You don't have to it's not like Snapchat. It's gone in 30 seconds.
That's true.
As much as some people would like that to be the case with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Breen 60. Hope we have more than 30 seconds.
Oh.
I'm gonna hang around just to make you miserable.
Wait, that's Black Cat though.
Yeah, I'm in Black Cat, yeah. But no, this is, like I said, I like the wedding issues. This past one was just a really fun one to read. It's it's actually not like the normal wedding issues where you have like all the villains show up and there's actually like a big fight. There is that punch between Hulk and Mephisto, but it's more of just like a comedy.
Yeah,
it's just a funny way, but it's done really, really well.
Okay, now let me ask both of you guys questions, since it was first for you two. Mm-hmm. Does it make you want to read more of the Peter David run?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I was actually, I was telling Skip that in the chat. It's like, I want to go back and check this out because, like I said, I haven't laughed this much reading a Marvel book in a long time.
Well, like I said, it just 2 issues later, he'll make you cry because the Jim Wilson issue. It would have been nice if it had taken a couple issues, but it got the job. There was 2 issues where Peter David really showed his dramatic chops, that being one, and there was an issue where a woman was on death row and she wasn't guilty, but the evidence was overwhelming, and it basically, he portrayed it evenly. He didn't take sides. And you can absolutely see how it got to that point, because all she had to do was tell the truth and she could have avoided her fate, but she didn't. And it really, and that's an issue that's very passionate. He is very much opposed to it, but it did not come through in his writing. And like I said, he could reach those kind of emotional highs, these kind of humorous highs, everything in between. There's a story with the Punisher where the Punisher basically empties, an M15 or machine, whatever. I don't know anything about guns. Basically, just unloads
M16,
everything he's got into the Hulk. It obviously doesn't phase him. He just goes up to him like this and goes, "Say goodnight, Frank." And you just the next panel, you just see the finger, but not the result. And then the next scene is, how you doing there, Frank? He's like kind of jumping monster headache, but it's just this series is just so much fun, and whether the story's serious or comedic or anything in between. And his Mr. Fix-It stories are fantastic. It was just a classic run.
Where does the Peter David run, where does that rank? If you look at all the Incredible Hulk runs that there have been, where does Peter David's run rank, you think, in that list? Number one? Really?
Yeah,
okay.
There's Bill Mantlo did a very good run in the 70s and into the early 80s where he gave the Hulk Bruce Banner's intelligence for about 25 issues.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a different version of that intelligent Hulk where, the before in the Bill Mantlo story, he was just, there was no Hulk in his personality to begin with. It was just straight up Bruce Banner.
Mm-hmm.
This version is 95% of Bruce Banner because the Hulk's personality has gone through so many metamorphoses through the years.
Mm-hmm.
But and then in the Bill Mantlo run, he basically started losing his intellect, and his savage nature took over to the point to where it completely, he went completely savage. He was basically mindless.
Yeah, you're talking about this because he was going through this in Secret Wars.
Yeah, and if you cheap plug here, we do a retrospective of Hulk 298, 9, and 300, which is the complete breakdown. He's completely broken down and reverted into a mindless savage, and it's a very well done story. Bill Mantlo unfortunately was hit by a car bicycling to work one day, suffered irreparable brain damage, and obviously has never worked again. His brother cared for him for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Bill was still alive. His brother, the caregiver, died. They said when the first Guardians movie came out, because he was the writer.
Was he the one? He's the one who created Rocket Raccoon, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they gave him a private screening.
Mm-hmm.
And they said he was, he appeared to enjoy it, but I mean, he's not there.
No.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because he was one of the really good comic book writers of his generation.
Wow.
But that one's up there. I didn't read The Immortal Hulk. A lot of people like that a lot, but from what I've been able to gather, it should have been just like a 50-issue Elseworlds, because it's I don't know how well that works in that superhero universe that already exists. But again, it's you have different strokes for different folks. I mean,
was Immortal Hulk where he was Hulk at night and Banner during the day?
Well, they've done that before. The original concept of the Hulk was he would turn into the Hulk at night, because it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
right.
And he would turn back in.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But and I've heard good things about it. I know there are a couple. Al Ewing brought his, injected his politics a few times, but it was few and far between. It's just that style of the Hulk was never my thing. Now when Reed, basically when the Illuminati conspire to have him sent off into space,
mm-hmm.
and it leads to Planet Hulk and World War Hulk.
Yep.
that was a tremendous run. Also,
Mm-hmm.
that Hulk was, intelligent, savage, and just completely merciless. And
Yeah, I remember World War Hulk. Yeah, that was probably the first big Hulk story that I read. Where he like crushes like like he just wipes the floor with everybody pretty much.
yeah, it takes the Sentry,
Mm-hmm.
who
Well,
whether you like the Sentry or not, those of us
that
that have been around for decades
that
weren't
led
real thrilled
into
with them.
didn't that lead into everybody getting a freaking hammer
No, that's Fear itself. You're
for
thinking of.
yourself? Yeah, they said
Yeah.
they had Worldbreaker Hulk.
World War Hulk was actually there was this really cool. There was like a Ghost Rider tie-in where the Ghost Rider comes to New York, thinking that he's gonna take out the Hulk, and everyone's kind of counting on him too because he's like the big supernatural threat since Hulk crushes Doctor Strange's hands and he can't do anything. And Ghost Rider goes up to the Hulk, and then he's like, he can't do anything to him because the whole Ghost Rider thing is that he avenges. He's penance for people that
Yeah,
have done
yeah,
wrong. And he's like, Hulk really didn't do anything wrong. He was shot into space, conspired against, and then his wife dies. So he's like, I don't
yeah.
see how Hulk did anything wrong. So he just like leaves the Hulk alone.
I've been getting more into Peter David stuff, obviously, because all this they keep reprinting stuff, or they're doing not retcons, but they're bringing back the original artist, which is great. Symbiote Crossroads with Spider-Man. I got to read Peter David writing on that. I mean, obviously it was Greg Land art, so it wasn't that great. It was all traced, but it was like you said, the story was fun. He did 2 runs of that. They got J.M. DeMatteis coming back and doing some Ben Riley, and I think Marvel right now is really smart for to do that because it's introducing people to going back and reading the back issues. Because if you like this, go check out the older stuff, and that's makes me want to go check out more Peter David writing some older material. Because you always talk about the Supergirl book he wrote, and that's your favorite run of Supergirl is by Peter David. And David,
there is no close second of Supergirl stories.
So, like I said, I can see that from the works of it and reading with Peter David that he's talented. He's able to make you laugh, make you cry, get you mad at certain characters, and then make you love other characters. It's just he is that talented of a writer. And like I said, I that's what I want from all comic book writers. If you're on a book, I want you to be doing my character with some justice, But it just seems like a lot of these writers are just focused on watching basketball other than writing.
Now, yeah, he also did the best version of X Factor.
Mm-hmm.
He did X Factor. He wrote Wolverine. I just pulled up his bibliography. He wrote for Wolverine. He did a lot of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, 2099. That's why I fell in love with it.
He wrote the Death of Jean DeWolf, I believe, the Sin Eater storyline.
Yep.
That's the first thing on the Spider-Man list is the Death of Jean DeWolf.
It's like
Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, a whole bunch of the early 100s.
Peter David is the reason why I'm not reading the new Steve Orlando Spider-Man 2099 because it's not Peter David.
That's but yeah, I said there's now again I'm old and forgetful, but I want to say there's a 4th run of his. Yeah, there's Hulk, Supergirl, X Factor, and I want to say there's something else.
Aquaman.
Well, yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking of, but his Aquaman was very, very good. Also,
he's got some She-Hulk issues here. He's got a lot of Hulk stuff. Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he wrote 60 issues of Captain Marvel. That's where he has Marlo leaves Rick for Moondragon.
Oh, wow.
And then when they decide to let Rick and Marlo get back together, they have Moondragon take up with Phyla Vel.
I think that's who I think she's even with.
Yeah, and it was weird because people don't know this. Most people just assume Moondragon has been a lesbian the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
She's been with Daredevil, Thor, Quasar. I mean, she got around. So that was one of those where it didn't really feel organic. It was almost like they just decided, well, we're going to make a character gay, and it's going to be her.
Yeah.
She would use there's an Avengers storyline where the storyline where she basically turned evil. She uses sex to manipulate Thor, and
wow,
you got that song "Girl Gets Around" by Sammy Hagar.
The only
listen to music.
The only other thing I'm seeing here is he wrote some Young Justice issues.
That's probably what I'm thinking. Young Justice was just a blast.
Yeah.
But I said I've been slowly I'm 37. So when I got into comic books, I mean, probably same time around when Zach did. He's 3 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what the 88 means for it. Love it.
Yes. Yeah, crack the code, Vinkman. Way to go.
I thought you just like having looks like little
little infinity symbols. No,
yes.
No.
So
about the same age though. Yeah, I was 13 or 14 when I got into comics.
2003 is actually when I got into books. Actually, I got in a little later than that.
Okay.
So
I got into them right around because I had just seen the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, I got into comic books late, so then I really didn't know a lot of the writers at the time. I knew the big ones, Claremont, and then you had Byrne, and then there was Kirby, and Stan. Those are the big ones I knew. Roger Stern. So I didn't know every single one that they written stuff because I started with Spider-Man. That was my big thing. I read through all that. Started going into Michael Straczynski Thor. So when I look for writers now today, now I'm older now I'm actually looking because I wasn't really a collector back then. I was just a reader. I was just kind of reading here and there. Now that I'm actually going to collect stories and read stories, I'm looking at writers. And the more I read from Peter David, it just shows to me, it's like, wow, how did I just not read more of this guy's work? Because I could just drop everything else I'm buying today and just go back and read Peter David stuff, and I would think it'd work out fine.
And now you also have the advantage of knowing somebody that truly is a walking bibliography of comics.
Yeah, and I wish he'd come on the channel. I mean, I need to get Ingleton on here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's a low blow.
Which camera do I? Yeah.
There you go.
No, because it's that's why I like doing these. I love, I love being able to get people excited about stuff from comics past. I mean, I've finally got to the point where I don't begrudge the fact that the comic book industry is not for me anymore.
Oh, it died in 2012.
No, I'm not even making a joke about this.
I know.
The way comics are done are fundamentally different, and what's important to readers isn't what was important. For me, it's the adventure. Today's readers seem to want the message.
I want the escapism. Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah, that's for me is the escapism of it. Yeah,
and it's just a lot easier to find in the rearview mirror.
It is because sadly today it's like escapism. A lot of kids are going to manga because the manga is not there to preach to you. And they're so vast. The Japanese took our basic what we do. For those who are here with us on Tuesday, we had Tim Lim on talking about this. They reverse engineered everything we do and decided, you know what, we're gonna do it better. They did it with the cars, man. Why not stop there? Do it with the comics, man. And it shows. And of course, people are like, oh, I don't like manga. Manga's bad. Buy American books. It's like,
well, it's a matter of taste. Like when I first got into comics, I wasn't reading 90s books.
I was reading manga and American comic books at the same time. But see, back then, the books coming out in the early 2000s were still as good as the manga could be coming out. But as years went by, manga stayed the same, where comic books became less about escapism and more about, like as Brian said, more about basically telling you what to think.
Now, that's why I think I'm encouraged that the sales on World's Finest are good.
By someone we don't really like, Mark Waid, but he's writing a good book. He's giving you escapism.
And I think if the character was better known, I think Rocketeer would be doing a lot better.
Rocketeer,
it is pure escapism.
Yeah. Yeah, like there are a few, and like, and I know that, we don't like Dan Slott either, but like I said, the Fantastic Four has been good so far.
I give credit where it's due.
The new Captain America book has been good, and I don't hate the writers on Captain America. I just think they've written some stuff.
Who are they?
Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing.
Yeah,
they've been popping up. They're a team of co-writers.
They're writing the Iron Man, Captain America. They're writing that right now. They're also doing Batman, Batman Beyond, Neil Gotham. That's the one.
They've had some different titles. Nothing that's really blown me away.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
But with Captain America, they really just blew me away with that one.
And it's just like, when you have somebody who is like just writing a character into the ground, and then you see somebody else write the character in their own book, and you just see how much better it is, you think, and I don't know. And now, see, I don't follow sales numbers. I only follow about what I like, because what I like may not be popular. I don't go against the strain, because I'm a nonconformist. No, I just read what I like,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always been the person that, hey, you can have someone going on there and and saying that they I don't like whatever your Twitter policies, whatever, not Twitter policy, but your political policies are, what you like and stuff. Someone who's anti-gun, if you're not putting it in your book, I'll still buy the book, because it's not directly from you. It's actually coming from Marvel and DC, and I mean, everyone's got to work. We're not going to agree on everything. So as long as you're giving me a book I can go escape into, I'm not being preached to about what I should say, what I shouldn't say, and there's no virtue signaling thing. It's just give me something that's fun. That's why I like manga. That's why I like anime. That's why I like cartoons growing up, because I wasn't being told or conditioned, to accept something, So, and we just lost 3 viewers.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you want to keep on going down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, but like I said, my bottom line is that read what you like. Not everybody's gonna like the stuff that you like, and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. But
I mean, like I said, not everybody likes Marvel and DC right now, because of what they're doing. They're some of the books they're putting out. Some of the books they put out are garbage. But you know what? Marvel and DC have put out garbage books before. Is it that this time these garbage books have preaching into it, as far as telling you how to think, how to act, all this stuff, it's just, they're dumbing down their characters. I still like it when I can get the back issues. And now people are like my comic book store owner, he's like, really, you're getting that? Like, that's a original reprint. I'm like, he hates reprints.
Yes,
and I said,
he is bombing Pearl Harbor. He is pulling a knee.
Yes, I am. I've had people tell me, like, especially my comic book store owner I go to, he's a nice guy. We get along and everything. He just doesn't like reprints. And I said, well, if you had these 3 issues, I'd buy them, but you don't have the 3 issues, and I don't want to have to track them down. And sometimes not everything's $1 because it's a back issue. Sometimes they're $3 or $4. This was $8.
Yeah.
So price of new books,
Mm-hmm.
And gives me 3 issues in the back, here. So it just gives you all those 3 original issues.
Yeah.
So I'm, like I said, I'm
$8 for 3 books. I mean, that's a pretty good deal even by today's standards.
Now, would I like it if it was a hardcover? I probably would buy a hardcover because it's gonna look cool with hardcover,
Yeah.
But it's a pretty thick book, though. It's not like you're getting look up. So
that's a good size floppy.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, I'm getting all the original material here too. I've never been a really big Fantastic Four people as far as reading the books, but little by little, it's chiseling away at my dislike. And
you keep stumbling across books that I've always I know when you stumbled into West Coast Avengers, you were like reading into that for a while, and I was like, yeah, dude, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. I mean, Fantastic Four was one of the first Marvel comics that I got into, even if it was the non-continuity, the Knights run. But I mean, the Fantastic Four were one of my favorite first superhero teams. So yeah, welcome to the club, buddy. We got jackets.
Members only.
Members only. Yeah, exactly. It was the Marvel Knights Fantastic Four, and then shortly after that, I read the Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four.
And then you got the Skrulls in here going after the Fantastic Four in here, and just like it's insane. These issues. Like I said, I'm never been a big team guy when it comes to books, but doing these the comic book readings on the channel, the reading here I'm reading books I've never read before, which is really cool. So I'm discovering things that I want to read again. I mean, I'm talking about the books that aren't Spider-Man, because we do a lot of Spider-Man books here.
We do a lot.
But even though those are cool to revisit, because I understand some people think it's cringe. Listen to our, because we're not a professional.
Spider-Man is more fun to read, to read out loud.
Yeah.
Than some of these other books would be, but we will eventually have to do a retrospective on some, an Avengers arc.
Yeah.
I have one in mind that's just 3 issues, and it's very battle oriented. It's 164, 5 and 6, where Count Nefaria uses the original Power Man, I believe Whirlwind, and I think the Living Laser, to jack up his own powers, and becomes virtually unstoppable. And he basically mows through the team, including Thor. And it was at a time when Captain America and Iron Man weren't getting along. Scarlet Witch was just basically pissed at everybody and letting them know it. And it was right in the middle of a very interesting team dynamic, and it's right before the Korvac saga.
Oh, okay.
And it's part of the Avengers hell from the Kree Skrull War all the way through the Korvac saga. That's almost 100 issues that almost every one of them is a hit. But this is, like I said, there's plenty of action in these 3 issues. Just about every Avenger you can think of is involved in this storyline. It's Jim Shooter writing and John Byrne art.
Nice. That's a winning combo.
I would say it's one of my favorite 3-issue arcs. 3, 2, 1. But yeah, I said I'd like to do that one. Don't mean to slight DC, but honestly, there's as great as DC is, and honestly, consistently, I think through the years they've been better than Marvel, basically from post-crisis, because the first half of the '80s absolutely belongs to Marvel. I mean, that might be the best stretch in comic book history.
But, because DC, all they had that to compete at the time was Teen Titans, right?
Well, Titans, Legion, Batman and Detective don't get nearly the credit they should. Because as Doug mentioned, Jerry Conway, and it was very well done. But I'm one of the people that say that the last 5 years pre-crisis are better than the first 5 years post-crisis for Batman.
Oh, okay.
Then we got Nightfall and No Man's Land, and a lot of really good events.
Yeah.
And I read there's like 5 omnibuses for No Man's Land.
No Man's Land is a big old collection.
Chuck Dixon, Greg Rucka. People are like, Greg Rucka? You like Greg Rucka?
Yeah, Greg Rucka.
If you look what Greg Rucka is doing today, when he did like the Lois Lane 12-issue miniseries.
So real quick, different nefarious storyline, Moran.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, it's interesting to see writers how they wrote stuff back then, and then see some of them are just like gone like cuckoo. They've gone so far into the political scheme that it's like you don't even recognize them anymore.
Well, if you read the Korvac saga, and I highly recommend anybody read that. And then you read what Can't Write Well's doing. It's an insult to anybody that read the original Korvac saga. It's just, Count Nefaria probably should never have been used again after this storyline, because I mean, there's a line in there where he's so powerful, he's basically going to take over the world, and the wizard tries to stop him, and the wizard's an old man. He can't do anything. In fact, this is after he's blown through the entire Avengers team, and there's a passage where Wizard says, "How old are you, Nefaria? 50, 60?" He goes, "In another 20, 30 years, you're going to be dead. Another Hitler scarring the pages of history." And he spares his life. He goes, "I give you your life because you've given mine purpose." So he decides he wants to steal Thor's immortality. And I guess he thinks that by getting the hammer will do it, but he doesn't really think it through. But he gets the idea that, I should be immortal. And they fight, and the twist at the end when I won't tell you how he finally gets stopped, but it's an awesome bit of writing. But we find out that the guy that did the operation was this old Nazi guy named Sturdy. And he told him, when Nefaria tries to cover his tracks, he basically thinks he's killed him. And he goes, "Do you think I would have given you this much power without the means to control you?" Well, he was lying. It turns out he was immortal. If he had just, basically stayed the course, it looked like he was aging prematurely, but it was going to reverse. And basically, he would have been immortal, but since they stopped him,
right,
they took all that shit out of him. But it's just like one of those neat twists that Jim Shooter's an underrated writer, honestly. I mean, it's bigger Crisis on Infinite Earths or Crisis on Infinite Earths. Secret Wars was fun. Crisis on Infinite Earths changed a superhero universe in every way possible and was necessary. Secret Wars, its strengths were it kept the continuity of the titles that were taking place at the time and respected that. And for something that was done to sell toys, was very well done. But Crisis on Infinite Earths basically cleaned up a half a century of, messes. And I don't mean that to disparage the stories.
It gave us the better Superman.
Well, it did. I in my opinion, you'd never get Gratu to admit that, but
I'm biased for that because I love that.
Well, they basically said, the Justice League was completely reformed. Superman, brand new version. Wonder Woman, brand new version. Basically, the only characters that weren't broke, so to speak, were Batman and Green Lantern. So they essentially left them alone. Everybody else was tweaked in some way, shape, or form, and it was necessary. So, it led to, the first 5 years of DC post Crisis are probably the second best run of comics after the first 5 or 6 years of the 80s at Marvel. Everything worked, it seemed, in those early years.
How many Secret Wars was there?
2, I think.
Only 2?
Well, there were 2. Two with the Beyonder, yeah.
The second one wasn't actually a war. It was.
So So Crisis has more. There's more of those in there.
Oh yeah, well, there's 2 Crisis that I'll acknowledge. The Infinite Crisis that took place about 20 years after that.
Yep.
Final Crisis was a farce.
Final Crisis was dumb. I actually liked Identity Crisis. I liked the whole murder mystery
that was
part
just
of
a murder mystery. That wasn't a universe reshaping of that.
Yeah, right.
And it was good, but again, if you'd had 30 years invested in the characters like I did by then,
yeah, right.
Seeing what they did to Jean, well, obviously what they did to Sue,
yeah,
But when it turned out that the murderer was Jean, now she'd had mental problems before, but man, this was just, I mean, it was like DC just really got dark because you had Jean Loring killing Sue Dibney, Max Lord shooting Blue Beetle in the head.
Yep.
And obviously that's all been undone now, except for the, as far as I know, Sue's still dead. And
I think the Dibneys are, Sue's still dead. I think Jean is
Sue's
still
still dead, but she was resurrected on The Flash.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the show. We're talking about the comics.
She became Mary Sue Dibney.
Yeah, so it's
get out of here with that noise.
So, I mean, those made for some really good stories, but I would trade all that to have the Max Lord leading the Bwahaha Justice League.
Oh, I definitely want that. I mean, I'd pay money to see the original writers for those stuff, for a lot of the DC books, come back and just do what Marvel's doing. Write a story that takes place during those events.
Well, they did do
they did that with Human Target and Tom Taylor.
Well, that's I meant. I said good writers. Did I say bad writers?
Yeah, they did. There was a. I can't believe it's not the Justice League.
With the JLA,
formerly known as.
Does Fabio have a container?
Two 6-issue series.
Yeah.
And the one has Mary Marvel as a dominatrix beating the hell out of Guy Gardner.
I remember that outfit. That was on Final Crisis, I think.
Well, no, they basically brought that back with Black Mary in Countdown.
Where's the cosplays for that? Huh?
Yeah. Good question.
Very good question.
So I have one more thing to add. Is this like doing this stuff too? Not just the readings. I said I've discovered more writers, and one of the writers I've really just come to love is Doug Mensch. Doing the Moon Knight here with Don Perlin. Werewolf by Night. Those 32 and 33 from 1922. Those were awesome issues. Introduction of Moon Knight, and just the dialogue is. And if you love like the comedy, like we're talking about Incredible Hulk 417, 418 with Peter David, I'd say a lot of the humor on this is just on par, especially the Moon Knight versus the Werewolf by Night. You paws on me, you mangy mutt. You're gonna kill us both. It's like it is just so on par with the humor. I love it, and like I said, it's not only this. The Moon Knight does get more tragic towards the end, but there's so many writers. Frank Miller, his Daredevil run. I still haven't. As much as I love Zdarsky's current, and it's not never gonna be as great as when it was Elektra and not Daredevil. But so there's so many different writers I'm coming across that I'm enjoying, and sadly we lost an artist today. R.I.P. Tim Sale, who for best known for The Long Halloween. Also, I believe he worked on Dark Victory, the sequel as well.
I know I've been seeing on Twitter the big one he did was Spider-Man Blue, and I think Daredevil Yellow
and Hulk
Gray.
And this is the book. It's just the complete book. Came with the complete set with Darren Cook, and then the other one as well. It's here. You should.
Yeah, he was just admitted to the hospital. I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. Very recently.
So this came with this set right here. This is the thing the box came with. Or the reason I got it for the Batman. Comes with the Batman Year One, and that stuff. It's crazy. I mean, I don't think he's that old. I think he was
66.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Sale, I thought was perfect for the kind of projects that he did. I honestly would not have wanted him as a monthly artist on a title I was reading.
No, but for Long Halloween, it fit.
Yeah, for like Long Halloween, that Spider-Man Blue is a tremendous. Jeff Loeb was his writing partner.
Yeah.
For almost all these.
Yeah.
And I said that's it's a shame, and I said gone too soon. It's like 2022 just seems to be cutting a swath through the comic artist community.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, the Joker, the Christmas thing. It's just that was very Nightmare Before Christmas. That's what I kept thinking whenever I see the Joker exaggerated jaw. But yeah, and good artist. I saw he did a cover for sketch for somebody. It's floating around the internet. He did of the Hulk for somebody. And it was really cool to see Tim Sale's art on just that, because the Hulk itself. Because I honestly, and this is because I'm still reading more stuff. Tim Sale, I don't know him from just working with Jeff Loeb on The Long Halloween, which I hope a lot of people aren't sitting on that and deciding, you know what, it's 12 issues. I don't want to read it. It's good. And if you don't want to read it, we got all 12 issues. We read it here on the channel. So, but yeah, it's just crazy. George Perez and now Tim Sale. I mean, it's
Neil Adams too.
Neil Adams as well. Yep. It's just I don't want to ask who's next because I don't want anybody to be next until 10 or 20 years from now. But yeah. So
let's go out on the bummer on the down.
No, I just felt bad. I didn't mention it at all because it's just today. It happened stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Obviously I wasn't gonna plan a live stream we're just gonna go over the life of Tim Sale and stuff because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But I at least wanted to mention them tonight.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Because many people may have not heard. So then again, I don't think a lot of people watch our channel. We have 134, but we're just a drop of piss in the bucket compared to like PewDiePie, who has over like a couple billion. So yes, note to self: we should start doing video games in here.
As a note to self, if we're talking about PewDiePie, we might have this may have run its course.
Yeah, probably.
I like a 3-course meal. That being said, have a good night before we start talking about Mariko Tamaki.
I know we're doing the long goodbye. It feels like without the goodbye part.
and I'm far too hungry to talk about Mariko Tamaki.
Oh crap! She's here. Go.
No, but everybody have a good night, and yeah, join us. I think Friday we're gonna be doing something.
Tomorrow?
Is tomorrow Friday?
Yes.
God, I'm losing track of time.
I may not be able to make the Geeky Puppet reading.
That's okay. No,
yeah, I don't know if I'm doing anything. If I'm going to be able to as well. But
if you don't show for the Rawhide, I will read Rawhide.
That one I should be okay by 10. But like I said, if I hadn't taken a shower before this started, you'd have smelled me through the freaking computer.
You know what, man? I'm glad you had fun here because that's all we have fun. We joke around, yes. But we Breen is awesome. Check him out on Thinking Critical. He's on there. They do their own retrospectives over there too. Mm-hmm. He's on Wednesday. He's on the Fossils Graphic Man's channel. Graphic Man, 2 words. And every Wednesday night they just show him and a bunch of older guys. Wait. Are they younger or older? I think they're older.
Oh, they're younger than.
They might be younger than him.
Oh wow, that's out.
So you're older than us, but younger than him. Yeah.
Yeah, they just show off the books. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, all right, and I guess we'll see. You know what? You are right, Mirani. I forgot about that. We do have a Ko-Fi link because we're not monetized. We're nowhere near close to being 1,000 subscribers. And on this channel, yes, we like having subscribers, but I honestly I enjoy just doing this. Whether I have 1,000 subs being paid to do this or just I'm doing this for free and I love it. I love having Breen on here. The guy has been around since Moses dropped the 3rd tablet, and he knows a lot about comic books. We got Zach on here. And then then Marani's here too.
I don't know why I'm here, yeah, but
okay, it's become painfully obvious that Venkman fired his writers again.
Oh. I never had writers to begin with.
There are some nights you have writers. There are some nights.
What it is, it's old age creeping in.
No, but yeah, if
my jokes.
we do have the Ko-fi. If you want to drop
Yep.
$1 in, it does help cover the subscription services that we use for the comic
Yep.
books.
Yep. And just
And every little bit helps.
yeah.
But yeah,
Because-
or other than that, if you want to leave a like, if you want to leave a dislike, if you want to leave a comment, all of those things help out.
yeah.
So
Also, if you have a suggestion of what book you want us to talk about next, leave that in the comment section. If there's a book you want us to read, or if you want to come on and read with us, we usually read on Friday nights and Sunday nights on this channel. We're not professionals. We usually ad lib a lot.
yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, yeah, go just let us know. And yeah, all we ask is you have a decent mic. All right, that's it. Hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you next time.
Good night, kids.
Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.